Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. Sorry for the delay, everybody. Did not expect to go live today, but I wanted to break this down with you because I watched this footage last night, and it was really upsetting. This is a complicated one, and I, in fact, actually this morning have been taping a series I'm excited to present to you this weekend where I actually have a detective, 25 years here in Florida, Pinellas County. I have impressive, 10 years detective, 8 years as sergeant, 5 times deputy of the year here in Tampa Bay. And I was talking to him about this a bit. I'm going to play an exclusive clip for you and his thoughts on this. But I've been just settling with this because there's some stuff in this that I didn't like seeing. There's definitely some mistakes that were made in this new camera angle that we saw. And I wanted to watch it with you guys so we could sort of recap it, commentate it, and go through it and see if there's anything we can take away from this. What's the lesson learned? It does seem like some of these officers, all officers, could use better training to be able to identify victims, especially victims of DV. I got to try and be careful of some of these terms, especially early on. So pardon me if I'm not being as clear or succinct in the beginning of my language, but you guys in the chat hopefully know what I'm talking about and can help me explain if somebody has questions. Now, just to be clear, before I've shown this, I uploaded this without any commentary, you guys, on Popcorn Planet. So if you are here and you want to watch this without us talking, you can go watch that, okay? And so I wanted to release that last night as it happened, so you guys could come, have already seen the footage, come ready to sort of watch again and go through sort of the revelations that we got from this video. So, and chat, please help me if someone's coming in saying, why does he keep starting and stopping? Just, they're coming in late. I'm not going to be mad at them. Just let them know to rewind, and they can, or click on there. Mods, thanks to mods. I got to bring in some more to help you guys. I know, Will, you've been going like crazy, so thank you. Will, Brittany, Jolene, I appreciate you guys being in here to help send that link out to this video if somebody wants to see it unedited. So guys, I wish we were here on other circumstances. I didn't like watching this video. It's heartbreaking to watch Gabby so emotional. And I even wrestle, like, do we really want to keep going through this footage over and over again? But I do think it's important that we set accountability, right? And we learn from this. And did these officers really make mistakes is going to be the question that we ask. What's haunting in this footage is the fact that they even sort of predict what happened, while also sort of acknowledging, we don't have a crystal ball. How can we predict this? So I do want to warn you all. We're going to go through this. I'm going to share some thoughts. I'm going to zip through some of the slower parts and stuff we've seen before, but I want to play some of the new footage and react to that because I think it's important we have this conversation to figure out, well, how do we fix this? What should we be requiring of our police officers? What kind of training? What could they have caught? And I know some of you are going to be able to educate me, share me your comments. People, survivors in my chat who have been through this, or what the sort of warning signs to look for. I want to go through all that, and I apologize in advance. Steph was never available to be here today, and I wish she could be here. She sends her regards and apologies. She had some other plans; she couldn't move, but I will be here, and I will try and take some of your comments. I may have try and see if I have a couple guests. I'd love a female perspective to get in here. In fact, I'm trying to think. Brittany, if you want to come in, our mod, Brittany, but I know we need you to mod too. So I may see at some point. I want someone who's at least familiar with the channel a bit more to offer this. This is a delicate commentary. I want to make sure I don't invite someone completely random on here as we go through this serious footage. All right. So I don't want to. With all that said, we're going to go through the footage now together. Actually, why don't I share the clip from John first? I think this is sort of an important thing to share. And again, I'm going to be talking with him further, but I have this exclusive clip here that I want to present to you before we're done our series. We did a 4-part series asking some tough questions to get a detective's point of view about what went wrong, what's happening. And before we get to the footage, I thought this was interesting to get somebody who's worked this for 25 years, his thoughts on this. So let me, if you'll watch this exclusive clip first, let's see what John's thoughts were and keep this in mind as we watch the footage. John, thank you so much. We had a 4-part series that we did. I wanted to tape this while I had him for today's show. John, we're watching the second body cam footage of Gabby and Brian, and I wanted to get your thoughts again on that because a lot of people are being very critical of these two officers. I know you're not as familiar with the new footage. I don't want to put you on the spot of the specifics, but again, if you don't mind, just to reiterate, we should be careful blaming these officers, right? There's a lot that goes in here. It's hard to have that fortune, that crystal ball to tell the future. at the same time, mistakes can happen. What are your thoughts, though, for people who are upset at these Mohawk City officers who are doing their best to try and take the evidence that they had at the time? I'm curious your thoughts on it.
Well, the unfortunate deal is these guys are Monday morning quarterbacked by everybody, no matter what the outcome is going to be. And the public has put the cops under these magnifying glasses, and so they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. So that's just the way they're working, in this environment where, they don't want to do the wrong thing and they don't want to go to jail or lose their job because they did the wrong thing. So they're always trying to be super careful. Now they know they're being recorded. Everything they do is under video. And even though they say the video is not there for Big Brother to be watching, that is what's happening.
Is it? I mean, so John, for those that don't know, John's been in the service for 25 years here in Tampa Bay. He was 10 years as a detective, 8 years as a sergeant. He was Deputy of the Year 5 times, so it shows this man some respect. But what is the training for, we call it DV, we got to use the terms, but because YouTube doesn't like some of these terms, but in a situation of DV, hopefully you know what I'm talking about, with a man and a woman, what is the, do they have training for that? Could maybe the lesson in this be that maybe we need a little bit more training to make sure we see visual clues and stuff to know that maybe
they do, and to start understanding what victims actually go through and why they don't make reports and why they come forward later. A lot of cops will say, well, the victim themselves didn't call us and they didn't do it in a timely manner, so therefore, they don't care, they don't want to do. They got to start understanding, what causes these victims to get where they are and how they respond and learn, understand where they are. And so they would better be able to intervene and deal with that. And a lot of them don't, especially where, our agencies anymore, you can't even find cops that want the job. So the ones that you do have, you just don't have a lot of experience and a lot of training and all that. And it takes a lot to gather all that.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem, right? And so I think that's what's happening here. I do think these officers made some mistakes, I'm going to be honest, but at the same time, as they even said in this video, which was so haunting, it's not like they sort of predicted it. It's not like one of these is going to go get killed. This new footage from the second officer is just really telling, but it's hard. But I'm glad to hear you say that. It does seem like we should try to figure out some way to get better training for these victims, especially it seems like there was more to this story than everyone really realized. And the one officer did try, but overall, you agree, more training, and we have to be more careful on jumping to conclusion. I mean, if you were in a pullover situation like this, do you try not to immediately side with one or the other? I mean, you keep it towards the facts, correct?
The cop it has to be objective, regardless of who made the call. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, he needs to prevent a future problem if he can, and that's why the state of Florida is so big on taking somebody into custody. The primary aggressor, take them into custody. They really push that. So whenever there is a DV incident, typically somebody is going to jail. Somebody's going to, if a crime was committed, somebody needs to go to jail.
Fascinating. Well, we had an amazing 4-part conversation with him that we'll be dropping this weekend, and we'll have John here live. John, thank you so much for being here. I just want to make sure I plug for while we're doing this. I'm going to play this on the tape, but if you guys want to support John or need a private investigator here in Florida, Hubbard Investigations is where to find him. John, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I just thought that was really interesting insight, and John was amazing, guys. I'm so excited for you to see that 4-part series. We asked what about the autopsy report. We asked about when will they get arrested? Can the Laundries get arrested? Is there corruption? He broke down so much interesting insight that I'm so happy to share with you. This weekend, I'm trying to take some time off to be with my family, and I wanted to stock some episodes for you. So that'll be a 4-part series. I'll be dropping probably 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. So stay tuned to that. And thanks to John. But I think it was important to hear from him to sort of remember. Hindsight's 2020. As tough as we're going to watch this footage and see things that I think we're going to be frustrated by, he was trying, but I do think in looking at it now, imagine you're living your life and you make a mistake, and then someone's going back and watching the exact footage of everything you did. It's hard, guys. So I do think this could have been way worse. These officers could have ignored even more. But my biggest problem and just my overall review and reaction is he ignored a lot of signs. He ignored a lot of signs and he made a lot of assumptions. And he sort of projected his own each of them, both officers, projected their own relationships into this, and I don't understand what that had to do with anything. They need to, as John Hubbard said, got to be more objective. But both are talking about their wives and their craziness, and even this new officer we're going to go through talks about how young she was, and just a lot of stuff that felt out of place when they should have been asking tougher questions. So wait a second, Brian. First of all, why didn't they say license registration? First thing that ever happens to me when I'm pulled over is license registration. Like, what the heck? When they pulled him over, in fact, let's start this. Let's do it. As they pulled him over, as Andy here, I'm gonna so here it is. As they pull him over, why aren't they asking for license and registration? I'm super confused by this. Now, this guy, I guess, it's just super weird. Now, granted, he didn't pull him over. The other guy did. But I don't even think the first guy did. He's like, all right, can you put your keys in the car? What's going on? The first officer, correct me if I'm wrong, even he didn't really do it because he asked for his license later. It's so bizarre to me that the first thing you don't do is ask for license registration. And to me, that's error number one. Because if they had done that, right, they would have known that the car belonged to Gabby. Now, he may be on the insurance. He may be allowed to drive it. There may be reasons why Brian was allowed to drive it. But immediately, right away, it would have set the tone to this is Gabby's van. And right there, it should pivot everything because why was Brian trying to leave in Gabby's van, right? Why was he taking the phone? Why was he driving away? These are questions, and the reason I want to go through this because it adds, I think, clearer motive for the lawyers and everybody else to sort of paint a picture as to why Brian Laundrie is not a good person. Because we don't have a lot to base it off of, right? This footage that we've gone through and been so, picking through, it's important we try and figure out, like, what happened here? Why was he able to get away with this? How did they miss it? And that first note of where on earth, am I right, guys? Like, why on earth didn't they ask for license registration? Like, the driver, they immediately go, and what's most telling is when you watch the first guy, right? So what's going on here? That first officer that we've watched that tape forever doesn't really get to the heat of it, the witness account and everything. So here this guy walks up, and while he doesn't ask for license registration, he's the second officer. Maybe he's assuming that's already been pulled. Okay, I can give him that benefit of the doubt. But then he walks up, and he does get to it right away. Let's look at this.
How's it going?
How are you doing?
Good. Hey, we got a call about a male hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle and taking off.
So I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up. And when she does, she swings and she had her cell phone in her hand, so I was just trying to push her away. But Gabrielle, you're talking about fiance, right? What's that?
So, and then he walks away. He walks away. This was the only grilling that Brian Laundrie got. Did you notice that? And did you see how much he was sweating? Do you see how much this jerk was sweating? And I know you're getting your comments. I'm going to get your comments, but let me get I hope you enjoy. I'm getting into the mood of hating on this guy and getting into the rant. So pardon me. I will get you guys in there. But please send your comments and support. I'm so grateful for it. But let's keep on topic for now. And I will promise I will go back and thank you to everybody who's been sending in this comments. But you can watch this again. You can tell how nervous he is when the question finally is presented to him. We got an accused of you hitting her. It's stunning that immediately, as someone who is trying to be objective and looking at the case, I'm stunned that this man didn't take a moment to ask a few more follow-up questions. Because I'm sorry, now that I see this angle, I'm getting more frustrated because the first guy didn't do any of it, guys. The first guy just pulled over, I guess, because the car was speeding. So maybe he didn't know all the intel. Maybe that's what the reality is. We got to really try to be fair here. I'm trying to be fair here, but I'm also going to call out when I'm feeling frustrated, and this is getting me frustrated. So again, I want you to watch it because this part's key. This is the most key part. Is the first time we see Dirty Laundrie in all his glory, his crummy, scummy, dirty list. I mean, I feel so sorry for Gabby. No wonder she was yelling at him. This dude's a slob, and she's probably just fed up living in this van for a month with this dirty guy who's constantly telling her she can't amount to anything, she can't do anything. It's been pounding on her emotionally, potentially it sounds like physically as well. And now we finally have him caught, and someone's there to push him on the question, and this is all he does.
How's it going?
How are you doing?
Good. Hey, we got a call about a male hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle and taking off.
So I don't want to try and defend myself by saying.
I don't have time to defend myself, but I don't want to sound. What is the exact? I wish we had the transcript. It's hard. He's such a mumbler and he moves around. But
Gabrielle, you're talking about fiance.
hold on, because I want to read that his excuse there
Male
is key.
hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle and taking off.
So I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up, and when she does, she swings and she had her cell phone in her hand. So I was just trying to push her away.
So right there, he's already in defense mode. Super, super, super guilty signs. And what's really sad about this whole instance is both officers have their own information, and they're both doing it separately. And I think that ultimately is where the breakdown was. The breakdown was we have one officer who came in with actual evidence of this guy might have been hitting, and then the other officer who's just reacting to sort of the speeding, and you got to go get this couple. There was a report, and both of these officers, I think, took charge of this matter, but then kept deflecting to the other. And so there was really no detective on this case who was actually paying attention to what was going on. Because if somebody had actually just been there and actually said, everyone else shut up and let me do the questioning so I can figure this out and gather a reaction, that I think it would have worked. But what's so weird to me is this guy comes in, this cop comes in, and I'm going to play it again. I know, this is so telling to me. The mumbling, the looking away, the deflecting. There's so much Brian is doing here that just screams red flags to me he's not telling me everything. This guy's nervous. He's deflecting. He's immediately trying. Well, I'm trying to defend myself. Blah 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 blah. And then you notice at the end of it, I'm going to play it in Saturday. At the end, he sees the other officer and he sees his out. You're accusing me of a crime that I am guilty of. Oh wait, hey, you're back. Hey, you have Gabby, right? Hey, because I was talking to him. He didn't ask me about that. Hey, how's Gabby? How's Gabby doing? Did you notice how quickly he was like, looking for a lifeline? And then the other officer who's doing his own story and his own narrative grabs onto that lore and then he runs with it, and then it's sort of over. So watch it again.
How's it going?
How are you doing?
Good. Hey, we got a call about a male hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle and taking off.
So I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up, and when she does, she swings and she had her cell phone in her hand. So I was just trying to push her away. But Gabrielle, you're talking about fiance, right? What's that?
So we've seen the other angle, and that's it. So that's pretty much what happens there. And then he goes and speaks to the woman, to Gabby, and I'm nerved because that's the only moment of pressure that we gave Brian, as he's sitting there totally nervous, dirty, worried, not knowing what the officers are saying. And this is part of protocol. I can only imagine, right? He's sitting there worried, wondering, what is Gabby telling the officers? When you separate these witnesses, you're hoping you're going to get the truth, right? And then if someone's guilty, which again, guys, if you don't know me, I've been a scumbag in my past, and you can change your ways, you can take accountability. But in my previous life, I was a cheater. I was unfaithful to my ex-wife, and it haunts me to this day. But I can speak from someone who was not a good person. When you're caught in those lies, you'll do anything to get out, and you will keep digging deeper, or you'll try to deflect. But the biggest thing you'll try to do is get the information. And to all the women and men out there, never, ever, ever give up your information. If you catch your man's text, don't you dare reveal what that text is, because I, as a cheater, need to know, well, how much do you know? So I can back up and go defensive on no, she said that because of this. Never give up the evidence. Push and prod until you get the person, in this case, Brian, to explain exactly what happened. So that way you're getting the intel, and it's the same. And John, our detective, spoke about this in great depth too, because it's important in this case that we don't have certain information, because information is key. And so as an officer, I'm very frustrated with him because he was able to go there, he was able to sort of pressure Brian, he was able to try and push for this, and then Brian was able to get distracted because he's talking to their officer. Now, maybe the cops realizing, well, he must have answered those questions. He must be asking those questions. And that's where I think the biggest disconnect was happening. And I think it's really frustrating. And so, the fact is, he should have come in and asked more questions. We had someone accused you of assault. Can you explain more? You want to be very vague and let him explain it. And then I would have more specifically let him explain. All right, you were pushing the wheel, but we had some comments before then, sir. So can you tell me what you were doing at the Moonflower Inn? Can you go back and tell me what happened? Because then we would have asked these questions, right? Of, well, why were you driving around with the phone? Well, because she was anxious and emotional. Blah 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 blah. That's where the police failed. The police failed because there was more to why he was driving away in her registered vehicle, trying to take her phone and leave her on the side of the road. I'm sorry, she's allowed to. The tiny little Gabby is allowed to be pushing away and yelling at Brian for that, no matter what happened. It doesn't matter. He's not allowed to drive away in her registered vehicle. Something was up. And the fact that they didn't ask him more of these questions is infuriating. And no one did. So this is why this footage was imperative, because now we're going to get to Gabby's testimony in a second. But this is very important because this portion with Brian is very telling, because you see one of them's asking about it and the other one's not, and then they're all disconnected. So,
I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up, and when she does, she swings, and she had her cell phone in her hand. So I was just trying to push her away. But Gabrielle, you're talking about fiance, right? What's that?
I do think I do also I can't tell. This guy doesn't give me serial killer vibes. He seems really dumb and shy. And I know Emily was going to join too. She sent me her feedback. She got the same vibe. I don't know if she's going to tune in. But he's a liar. He's a liar. That's the reality. All right, so now we saw that footage previously. Now we saw this. They talked. We don't have to dwell on that one too much, and the sound's not very good here. But we're looking at the second officer's cam, and they're explaining sort of what happened in the car. But even that officer never really got into the details of, well, why were you driving away, sir? Why were you leaving her stranded in the parking lot? But again, a lot of that didn't come out because Gabby was so afraid to point the finger at him, which is what a lot of victims do. And that's why I think the officers did fail in that regard, because they should have just assumed, all right, well, you know.
Hey, how are you? My name's Eric. I'm with Moab Police. What's your name?
I'm going to pause here. Guys, it's going to get tougher to watch, okay? And I apologize in advance. I don't mean any disrespect to Gabby and her family. I just share this to get insight on Brian. This is public police records now. Let's be respectful, please, in the chat. If anybody's out there saying anything negative about Gabby, I'm going to boot your ass out of my entire channel. Please be respectful. And I'm sorry, I want to warn you guys, it's going to get very much more emotional as you watch this. So please bear with us.
Gabby.
Gabby, how old are you?
I'm 22.
What happened? What's going on?
I'm just having a very stressful morning.
Yeah. Is this your husband or boyfriend?
My fiance.
Fiance? Is he a pretty good guy?
Yeah.
What happened over at Moonflower?
Key right there. It feels genuine. I don't mean to defend these officers, but she's right there. Is he a good guy? Yeah. But the reality is he clearly wasn't. This is clearly a really bad relationship. And the problem is a lot of women, you've reached out to me. I'm listening. I'm learning. A lot of women say that because they're afraid to say otherwise. They are trapped in these relationships. And we have to be careful sometimes. Yes, women can lie. But in a situation like this, something should be ringing. Bells should be ringing. Something is wrong. She's too emotional. She's too anxious. What's going on here? Why? More questions need to be asked.
Well, I was just really stressed this morning trying to get a lot of work done, and I was apologizing to him. I had thrown a bunch of stuff in the back, and all our bags are back there. I was just apologizing. I was like, I'm sorry that I get so stressed out because I have OCD, and I was just like organizing stuff, and sometimes I just have a mean attitude, but I'm not trying to be mean about straightening things up and stuff. So
To me, all of this screams Brian has conditioned her and gaslit her that she's a nagging B word who's constantly mean. Why are you always up in my shit? This is the type of thing I'm getting from. This is my take. Take it as you will. I'm getting that vibe based on what she's telling me. And now we know more, obviously, too. These officers didn't know a lot, and this is how important this case was and everything else about it. But I'm getting the vibe here that she is stuck in something where she's constantly being told awful things about herself, no positive reinforcement. Why are you always nagging me? Why are you so mean, Gabby? Wanting a clean van that you're living in is not being mean. I'm sorry. Wanting a clean van so you can sleep and not have it be disgusting with crap all the world. It's why a lot of couples don't stay together. Why a lot of divorces happen. Living together is always the test, right? And all these things were probably valid. Now, maybe she was emotional. So what? I get emotional. I'm emotional right now. We shouldn't be judging her because she's emotional. Just like men can get emotional, women can get emotional. The fact of the matter is, now that we know more, and we should use this as a case study, she's not being honest, and he should have been able to catch up on some of these red flags. The fact that she's so apologetic, the fact that she keeps defending him, all of these are red flags that you should be careful. Now, I'm not saying charge him with a crime. I'm saying red flags, red flags, red flags. Take more notes, ask more questions, do more than you did. And that's why I want to go through this, because it's not even just about Gabby. It's with any victim. We're in a culture, and I've been falsely accused of this. I'm very emotionally invested in this. But I'm also very aware that accountability is important. And yes, men lie too. Women and men, they both lie. It's very hard right now. And a lot of people just try to get through it because they blame cancel culture. And I am a victim of cancel culture. I genuinely am. If you don't know my story, you can find it pretty easily. But at the same time, I made mistakes. I owned up to them. I know I needed to learn. And men need to do that. And we got to be careful. At the end of the day, there's too many red flags here. And I see them now. And we got to be better, because I just feel so terrible for this girl. So many bells are ringing as we watch it. And we need to watch this so we can all know better, to not ignore these signs and to ask more. Do you know what I mean? That's what this is about.
I was just apologizing, but I guess I said it in like a mean tone, and he got really frustrated with me, and he locked me out of the car and told me to go take a breather, but I didn't want to take a breather because I wanted to get going. We're out of water.
So it kind of made you more upset.
Yeah.
It did make it. You're out of water. You're stressing out. You're out of water. You're out of water. In a dirty van with a guy who's constantly saying you're being mean, and, oh, your apology is mean. Oh, why do you have to apologize so mean? The F is this? God, it's getting me mad.
It didn't help calm you. It made you more upset.
Yeah. And,
So then what happened?
And so our goal was to come here and come refill our water.
Are you guys living out of the van right now? On travels?
Yeah.
Okay.
This girl is terrified. And I believe she's terrified for a multitude of reasons. I don't think in this moment she's terrified of him per se. She's terrified of being alone. She's terrified of being pulled away. There's so much going on here that I'm sorry, I don't buy that she was the aggressor, slappy. No, I don't buy it in this situation. I'm sorry, I don't buy it.
So it was just really.
So what happened after he locked you out? I told you to take a breather.
Well, he walked away to go take his own breather, but I wanted to sit in the car because all my stuff was in the car. I had none of my bags, and I was working on something at the moment in the car. And
Process that. Laptop, everything she owns in a van, her phone. She's working on her vlogs, her careers, her dreams, everything she's trying to do. And he's driving her registered vehicle away from her. Again, why didn't we ask for license registration? Why didn't we ask Brian, why were you driving away from her? You think it's cool just to drive away and leave this young little girl? Again, she's the young little blonde girl that he keeps bringing up, the officers. You didn't think to ask Brian, so you thought it was cool to leave her on the side of the road just because you got in a fight? Like, what the hell?
he told me to just relax for a second, and I didn't want to relax, so I got real mad.
Dude, that is not, and it's someone who's saying this is fake crying. This is not fake crying. This is anxious, over exact, like it just over. What's not over? Over just. She's in a panic attack mode. This is real. This is totally real. I don't buy. She is not an actress. I don't buy it for a second. This is not fake.
I mean, I don't need to be mad.
Yeah, what happens? Then what happened?
And then I told him to drive and get water because I was really thirsty.
Yeah. Is there something on your cheek here? Looks like did you get hit in the face? Kind of looks like something like hit you in the face.
Look at that reaction. Look at that reaction. So here we have evidence the officer sees it himself. I'm shocked by this.
And then over on your arm, shoulder, right here. That's new, huh?
Now, you'd think, right? Okay, so he's hurt her now. He's trying to be objective. Now he's seeing bruises. You would think this officer would immediately go and grill Brian Laundrie, right? Wouldn't that be the next thing? Okay, well, here's what she's saying, but why is she... This girl's tiny. This girl's tiny. I'm sorry. Men don't grab women, even if they're hitting at you, to get bruises. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Granted, he did have some marks on him. I get it, but still, never, ever leave marks on a woman. You just don't. You just don't. So I'm sorry that maybe I'm too old school these days. I don't know, but bruises on her, huge red flags. I need to go ask this man a couple more questions.
It's kind of a new mark.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Can I see the other side of your face? So, what happened here and here?
Granted, and think about it. She's on the passenger side, so that's so I guess that's where he's driving, right? So he's hitting her.
I'm not sure. It was really fast. I was just trying to get in the back of the car and his backpack was on the back.
So now we have evidence that there's markings on her. And again, the 911 caller is the one who saw it. The witness didn't. And that's key. The officer's going to reference that. Well, we saw one caller, we don't have the other. And so the reality is that's an important part. So now you have, again, I'm getting more and more frustrated as I watch it. I'm trying to give these officers the benefit of the doubt. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. But officers, you effed up pretty big here. Because you knew there were two witnesses. And someone said that she was hit. So your information was valid. Someone did say it. Now the witness, he's going to call the witness later. The witness said that he didn't see it. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. But now you have bruises.
So the backpack got you? So there's two people that came to us and told us that they saw him hit you. There's two people saying that they saw him punch you.
Did you? Two people said it. Two people said it. Not one, confirmed now. Two. We've known that. The report even says it. Two people are saying it. Now, apparently the witness, who he calls, changes the story and says he didn't see it. Not that it didn't happen. He didn't see it. But then you have one more witness who says it, and you have bruising.
Just independent witnesses by Moonflower.
Well, to be honest, I definitely hit him first.
Where'd you hit him?
But to be honest, I hit him first. Now, is that true? I don't know, but that's where things change. Because she said that, now his whole investigation goes out to Brian. Oh, well, you hit him. Well, that justifies why this guy hit a girl. Oh, you hit him. So that's why you have bruises on your body. Oh, cool. So you hit him. And now he's this bigger guy is allowed to hit you. Oh, God. Okay, cool.
You slapped him first, and then just on his face?
You get to kind of just shut up.
How many times did you slap him?
Romeo, India, Alpha.
Just a couple.
And then what? And then his reaction was to do what?
Okay,
be out of Florida.
so I wouldn't slap him.
He just grabbed you?
Yeah.
Did he?
So, again, there's so much more that clearly happened here. He's yelling at her to shut up. He's yelling at her to shut up, and she slaps him. She slaps him. Okay, shouldn't have slapped him. I get it, but we don't know the instance. We don't know how much emotional is going on here. And clearly, any guy who's going to react to that is, and Granny's trying to walk away. I'm sorry. I just don't buy that she was out there so strong that she's causing all this problem that warranted him punching her. I don't.
Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit
She's so afraid to admit the truth.
him, and then I understand if he hit you, but we want to know the truth if he actually hit you.
I
'Cause,
guess,
you know-
I guess, yeah, but I hit him first.
Where did?
I guess, yeah, but I hit him first. She's so trying to still defend and apologize for her abuser. It's happening right here. You're watching it live, and it's heartbreaking. well, yeah, I guess, but I hit him first. She probably was like, she's probably being screamed at for all we guess, screamed at emotionally, and is defending herself because her words are meaning nothing to him. So what is she supposed to do? She shouldn't. No one should be physical. I of course, but we have no idea what led to that, what the breaking point was. But we're now acknowledging, yes, he's been hitting her, and I'm sorry, that's never okay. Especially a stronger guy. I don't care. That's okay. Restraint, hold, block. There's things called blocking. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no reason to slap back ever.
Did he hit you? Don't worry. Just be
He
honest.
like grabbed my face, just like I guess.
He grabbed her face, and then the officers didn't have the wherewithal to think, well, has he hit you before? Is this the first time this has happened, Gabby? Is this something that happens? Like, it's okay, you can talk to me. Like, if you're in a dangerous relationship, I'd like to know. Because what prompts her to slap him? What's led to this point? She's terrified. And that's what we need to understand, guys. I think a lot of men, if you're still watching, she's so small, she's terrified. What does she get emotional? Sure. That doesn't justify Brian slapping her, ever. This is not okay. And this officer just does no wherewithal to think, well, does he have a history of this? Do you guys do this a lot? Has he started it before? Is she hitting because she's used to him hitting her, and that's sort of the only thing this has become because they do it to each other all the time? Questions that would have been great to ask, and nobody does.
He didn't like hit me in the face. Like he didn't like punch me in the face or anything.
Did he slap your face or what?
She knows if she tells the truth here, this guy's going to jail, and she loves him.
Like he like grabbed me like with his nail, and I guess that's why it looks. I definitely have a cut right here because I can feel it.
Yeah.
Guys, listen to that. It's breaking my heart. You're in your defense of the woman who's so erratic and crazy and emotional. She's hitting you. Why on earth would you grab her face? Why on earth would you grab her face? Like, do it to. Please take your hand and imagine you're coming, and I grab the face and like this to make nail marks. Like I'm doing it right now, and I can't leave a nail mark. Like what the hell? Like, okay, her wrists. I understand. There's some bruising on the wrist because, officer, I was holding back, had to restrain her because she was coming at me. So I'm holding her back. He grabbed her face.
It burns.
It burns, she saes. Yeah, it burns. So he left such a mark, it burns. And yeah, no, thank you. No pictures. No pictures of the injuries.
Okay. So has he been drinking?
No, we don't drink.
Okay. What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curb.
I
While you're driving?
well, he was driving.
While he was driving, you were hitting him?
Well, not a lot, but yeah.
And that was distracting him while he's driving? Are you
Only for like a second. Only because I saw the lights come on and I like.
She hit him for a second, guys. And the guy's like, so you were hitting him while he was driving? You were hitting him? Okay, so you're the aggressor, huh? So you're just one of these annoying, whiny girls who just constantly ragging on their guys? Yeah, like my wife. Like this is what the guy's doing.
Did you already tell him?
So she like punch buggied him. Let's be real. Let's call it what it is. This 98-pound girl punch buggied him in the arm. And she's the aggressor. This guy couldn't handle a punch buggy in the arm and is speeding past the police and then swerving into curbs. Oh, I'm sure it was just that. I'm sure it was just her screaming. He was probably a saint in that car, silent. And my gosh, this aggressive woman was just so loud and emotional that he drove off the road.
All this?
I didn't get that far into it. She was hyperventilating.
She's saying that they don't drink.
So now the other officer comes back. The officer's in charge of everything, right? The officer's going to do the report because the other officer sort of throws it to him and says, "Oh, you figure this out. I defer to you," he says later, right? And he didn't ask any of this stuff. And so now here's the recap.
But at the point when you lit them up,
You don't drink or anything. I was yelling at him, and then when you started.
So now they think, oh, you're drunk driving. You guys are going to jail. You're going to get fined. Of course. So now she's in defense. She's like, and she's losing again because she realizes what that means. She's not dumb. There are officers pulling her over, guys. Imagine how that feels when you get pulled over by cops. And now you're like, oh, crap, I shouldn't have said that because now they're going to think this. And, no, we're not alcoholics. No, we weren't driving drunk. That's like not even the point right now. The fact that this guy's pivoting to is he drunk, give him a DUI test. Like, who cares? You could do a field test right there to find out if he's drunk. This woman just opened up to you about what's happening to her and the DV situation. And you're all caught up on, is she drunk?
Lights out, and I got up onto the arm, there's an idiot.
She's saying was why he hit the curb. You said it was Gabby?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm really bad. Name was Gabby?
Yeah.
Okay. You okay, Gabby? Do you have
Clearly, she's not okay, dude.
medication for anxiety you take?
Oh, so do you not have your meds today? Oh, you seem a little crazy, Gabby. Do you have your meds, Candy? Because I'm just...
Take or anything? Do you take any medication for any...
I just do yoga and
try to meditate and stuff? But you tend to have a lot of anxiety and stress?
I have a lot of anxiety.
And what's his name? Is it Brian? Is he usually pretty patient with you?
Yeah, but it just makes me upset. I know that he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot because
He gets frustrated with her a lot. So when they're fishing for these questions, she wants to give him the answers that get them out of here, that she gets him back with him because she's not ready to leave this abuser.
I have a lot of anxiety, and he definitely has anxiety too.
Oh, that could be.
He has a lot of. Did you see how she said that? He has a lot of it too. This is clearly a mutual, toxic, not a good for either of them relationship.
A bad combo if you both have anxiety. I have anxiety too, and my girlfriend.
I'm sorry I paused it, but she's continuing to talk, the witness, and the officer decides, you know what? I'm going to cut her off and talk about my relationship because it must be relevant.
My girlfriend's really, really calm, and she has a way of taking my anxiety and bringing it down. But my ex-wife, that's why she's my ex-wife, I'm just sharing, I know it's a little personal, but to help you understand, we would feed off each other's anxiety and it would spiral. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul. Just saying.
Now, that's nice he said that because he's right. He was right in this. Totally in it, but he cut her off. He's not hearing the story. He's already sort of connecting to him. I don't think it was the right time to share that story, but he was right.
I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. You know what I mean? And we're not here to be.
Again, it's all your fault, Gabby, because your anxiety just keeps putting you in this situation, Gabby. You're so anxious. You're so emotional and anxious. Look what's going to happen. You're going to get hit.
Mean to you or anything? Well, there's a first time, and then it usually. We'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from.
It's over. Case closed. I think you've heard it all. Unless she's the aggressor, she doesn't have her meds. She's crazy, too anxious. I mean, seems like we should let that guy go.
Quick question: you said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab him?
And then, of course, he's going, so you were hitting him. So now, through the hearsay of the officer, who's sort of just selectively hearing, the other officer we'd heard the tape of, like, so you were hitting him. Oh, okay. We never heard what Gabby had confessed to with the other officer, but the other officer just sort of took it as his word of, oh, okay, yeah. Ignored so many of the red flags. He also has anxiety. He's not supportive. He's hitting. He clearly hits her. Didn't even mention he grabbed her by the neck. Like, can you believe these officers didn't take a side right now and go, dude, I don't know what's going on. She's definitely emotional right now. She clearly has some anxious, and she may have been slapping on or whatever, but I'm really uncomfortable with this. The dude grabbed her by the face. I don't understand why he would have done that. Like, it's not a good look. She's got bruising on her arm. I think there's more to this. We should look a little. I'm going to go ask. We should push this guy a little harder. Like, these guys just want to get out. They just think this is a little tiff, and they want to move on. I'm sure this happens a lot, but this case has gotten such global spotlight. I think it's not even just about finding missing persons, but this is about victims and paying it more attention so when someone's stuck in a relationship that they need to get out of. And right now we're watching the footage and clearly knowing this woman needed to get out of it. Now, again, I have trouble faulting the officers. Like, would they have saved her life? We can't go to that extreme. Who knows? And he's going to say that later. We don't have a crystal ball, and it's the most haunting part of this whole thing. We don't know. But they were mistakes made here.
Okay.
He's
you want to come stand in the shade?
Hey, man. Yeah, let's get you. Let's not make you sweat. Let's go take you in the shade, get some air.
Yeah, I know the struggle. So you don't drink or anything?
No.
Okay. So you were talking to these officers, and I don't mean to butt in. I just felt.
I mean, why not, dude? Why didn't they do a breathalyzer? Dude's swerving and hits a cone. They're erratic. I mean, can't they just do that and just have that out of the way and stop asking? She's in distress. She's losing it. And they're like, hey man, what's up? Let's laugh around.
Kind of bad for you. Maybe even if you stand here, you'll have more shade.
I don't want.
And they're worried about the shade. Give them some shade.
No, I know how it
I have
is.
a big sombrero.
Well, from when I first got here, we were more worried about what kind of a guy you are from what we heard. But in talking to your girlfriend, it sounds to me like maybe this is not so clear cut. So.
Right there, it's over. Right there, it's over. The officer has played his cards and admitted, well, you know, we weren't sure if you were a good guy, but the abused woman in the car, who's clearly terrified, shaking, trembling, crying, anxious, she says you're a good dude, even though you grabbed her by the face, you constantly hit her, you aren't supportive of her, you're yelling at her all the time, you tried to leave in her car that if we'd asked for registration, we'd know it's her car with her laptop and phone in it. But yeah, you know, you seem like a good guy.
Did you already give a statement to this officer?
I got this gentleman here.
Yeah. And this gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah. And she's got some marks on her too.
So they both have marks. But let's side with Brian, right? Because she's emotional, guys.
So we're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you've probably already told your story. But this officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say? And
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you tell him what happened, will you? If you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
See if it sounds the same.
I'm going to turn my car, get this noise off here.
So we've heard this testimony before.
The flies here, like
We've heard that testimony before. Now, what's interesting here is we finally get a really good shot of the van, the alleged backpack, the sombrero, the fact that yes, you can easily get in and out of this. There's just a little thing up there and a blanket. But that's sort of the first look we've gotten of inside. Really good image here as it's moving around of inside that. And that's not the trail cam backpack that everyone thought it was. See, it's camo. It's not black or white. It's more like gray. Even though that photo was debunked. But anyway, he walks around. He's like so distracted.
Thank you.
He's barely paying attention. So then at this point, they try to go give her a Gatorade. They could try to go give her a Gatorade. She wants water. He goes to get a water. The female ranger there doesn't seem to have any more perspective. She's just sort of...
Here. I'd love to go talk to the independent witnesses, and maybe that's what I'll go do.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if you'd gotten both of them, dude?
Yeah, there's a couple of waters. Here's this bag, because you might need that for someone else.
Look, we're vilifying these cops, and the reality is this guy's trying to be nice. This guy made a mistake. Is really what's I think important here. I know we're livid. I really don't think these officers were trying to harm anybody. In fact, I think they were trying to do the opposite. The reality is we need to educate them and a lot of people as to what they missed. Because again, I think it's really unfair for us to play, Monday morning quarterback and say, should have, could have. They weren't trained for it. Now, is that their fault or is that the whole police department's fault? Kind of both to me. And I think these people made mistakes. We can be angry at them, but they deserve to be educated. I do think they were trying to do some things for good. They were reading it. She's telling them one thing. They weren't aware to see more signs to do it. And I think we have to be careful of just making sure we don't just go and try to cancel them, get them fired. We need more information. We need to educate them. And that's the reality. I'm all for education over condemnation, cancel culture. This cancel culture, it's not just about canceling. It's the culture of people who have no remorse for get people learning or having redemption. If we can't educate, what's the point? We're just going to throw them off a cliff? Like, there's a lot of people in this world, and there's some people that won't get fixed. They need to go to prison, through court, But a lot of people, all of us you watching, you've all made mistakes. I've made plenty of them. And if it wasn't for the people who educated me and helped me, I wouldn't be the person I am today, which is a much stronger, smarter person.
She wanted, I know to keep her rings, the phone, and I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone, I don't have a phone, so she goes off without me.
I don't have a phone. I don't really have a phone. I have Gabby's phone.
It's all right. I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk, and she was trying to get the keys for me, so I was just going, just wait back up, and then that's what she...
So it's hard to hear him. We've heard this part of the tape. I want to get to the more important part. So this is when he calls the witness. So he gets the witness's information.
I just noticed that this couple...
So this is not the 911 caller, mind you. This is the witness who's going to tell, and he put it on speaker so we can hear the witness's account of things, which is another telling thing about this. And everybody, please, I will get to all your chats. I'm sorry I haven't. Usually I try to interrupt, but I don't want to interrupt the flow of this. I want to try and get through the most important parts, then we'll wrap up. I'll get your comments and questions, and thank you so much for all your support. You guys mean the world to me. I'm so great. We have this platform to share and talk together and being nice in the comments. Thanks to the mods. I will get there in a second, but let's listen to this witness first.
Was sort of arguing a bit, and I wasn't staring at them, but it did catch my attention. And what I noticed is it seemed like they were sort of squabbling over a phone.
Squabbling over a phone. This is important.
I want to say that he was trying to grab her phone, and I'm not sure exactly why. And then it seemed like he had sort of blocked the one side of the van and sort of wasn't letting her in, and then the male was stepping into the driver's seat, and she was trying to get into the van. I think he said something about why are you being so mean, something like that. And I remember she sort of hit him a few times, and it wasn't like slugs in the face, but just kind of like two kids kind of fighting. They reminded me of very mature, I don't know, children sort of.
So pausing so we can hear. You guys are getting the recaps because it's hard to hear. So he's basically saying that he took her phone and then run off in the driver's side, and she says, "Why do you have to be so mean?" He then gets into a car and is trying to leave, at which point she starts hitting him. But then the witness even clarifies, like, not, clearly out of a, fighting, don't go away, where you going type of thing. So right now I'm like, why did he do that? Why don't we ask that? Why'd you take her phone? Someone was saying, so can you go back and explain how this all started? And we have some witnesses. I'd like to, correct our story. So what happened in the car? Because this witness is the most important testimony. Brian's seemingly being a jerk. She's calling him mean. He's trying to take her phone. Why? Let's ask Gabby that too. Why was he trying to take your phone? Why was he driving away? They sort of imply, well, because I was complaining about it being dirty. Well, then why'd you take the phone, dude? I mean, I'm sorry. Aren't you listening for clues to ask certain things to figure out who's lying? And again, why didn't you ask for the registration of the car to figure out whose car this is?
They're fighting, but there seemed like something was off. It seemed like a weird vibe. And eventually it seemed like she crawled into the driver's seat, sort of like got into the vehicle over his lap, sort of forced her way in, I guess. And then they were in the car, and then they just drove away. So I wasn't sure what the nature of the argument was or what. It just seems like there was some sort of disagreement and some sort of like shutting. I don't know why she would have entered through the driver's door. I thought that was strange. So I thought about calling it in, but as soon as I walked up this bar, there was another gentleman who was already calling it in, so I was like, oh, good on you. That seems it off. I wasn't sure what to do in that situation, but that's what I saw, and if there's any other specific questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Did you ever see the male?
He also said there was another witness who saw it. Key point there. There was another witness, so he said, oh, great.
Strike the female?
I would say that I think I saw maybe a push or a shove, but not like a full-on punch to the face or anything.
Was the shove was the shove or push an aggression towards her, or was it a defensive maneuver away from her or to get her away from him?
That's a good question. It was unclear what was going on to me, but it did seem like he was. It seemed like he was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. It almost seemed like he put that backpack or something on the back of the vehicle, I'm not sure. And then he was stepping in and she was out trying to get in. So maybe.
Okay.
So he didn't say that he didn't hit her. He just said he didn't see it. And then he says he was closing up shop and putting the backpack up and leaving. He's leaving this 98-pound woman that you keep talking about how tiny and young she is. Why does that not bother you? And whose car is it, dude? Oh, you don't know because you didn't ask that it's Gabby's car.
I don't. It was the whole thing was off, and so no, I didn't see anything that was like him chasing after her or hitting her or vice versa. There was a very
or vice versa. Did you hear that? I didn't see him hit it, or vice versa. He just said I didn't see her do it either. I mean, he saw her sort of push to get into a car. I'm sorry, I don't call that abuse.
It was kind of light, and they were almost kind of laughing, and I wasn't sure if they were just joking around, to be honest. But then it got more strange as he was in the vehicle about to drive off.
But
then
you-
he was-
So they're, hold on, sir. They were laughing about what? So they were laughing, and like he was like, do you think he was like pranking her? Like, I'm gonna leave you in the parking lot. Why doesn't this guy ask better questions?
You did see her slapping him, though, it sounds like.
So you did, but so all he's hung up on. So she did slap him because that's what he's saying. So that would put us all. Yeah. So she's the problem, right, dude?
Yes, it was like, my memory is he was in the driver's seat, and she has the driver's door open, and she's like kind of hitting him either in the arm or maybe on the face, maybe with an open hand, like, hey, let me in, don't be a jerk, something like that.
Okay.
You know, that aggressive girl who's out there saying, please don't leave me stranded on the side of the road and take my laptop, my phone, and my car. Hey, man, I'm so angry and anxious and such a problem. Can you arrest me, please, officer? Because I'm so troubled by the fact that my boyfriend, fiance, is leaving in my own car with all of my personal items. Oh, she's the aggressor.
Okay. Well, you know, your story is really, really helpful because you're an independent witness, and we've just interviewed both of them. And what you're saying is making everything make a lot of sense. So I really appreciate that I ran into you and that I was able to get your number and talk to you. So thank you very much. If we need to ask for a written statement.
Yeah, so he asked for the statement, and yes, he totally led the witness. He totally led the witness and didn't listen to the witness. Now, it's hard to hear everything. I get it. But there was a point where the witness said, yeah, I didn't see it, and vice versa. Like, there was nothing aggressive happening. There was Brian leaving her stranded. And this cop isn't even processing that. He's so hung up on his, my wife and I have anxious problems. My ex-wife, she's probably just like my ex-wife, bitch. That's the vibe I'm getting from this guy. He just has immediately related to someone he knows and thinks this isn't a problem. So he goes and gets...
obviously, it's voluntary. It's helpful,
he gets the statement. They mute the statement. He comes back.
Two witnesses, and I recorded it. Do you want me to tell you what he said?
There are two witnesses, but he only talks to one. Do you want me to tell you what it says? And we sort of heard this before.
There were two witnesses. And
now,
to give you a form.
Here's an interesting moment, right? Here's the opposite to be a cop moment where it's like,
Appreciate you.
you have this information, you've just spoken to the witness. You've just spoken to witness, Brian is there. And look at, and honestly...
Hey, Robbins. So I just got off the phone with one of the two witnesses, and I recorded it. Do you want me to tell you what he said real quick? Do you mind hanging with him for a minute?
That right there is so important in detective work because now Brian is sweating and he has no idea what that witness said. But these officers never took advantage of that. They never took advantage of that. Like, yeah, well, he just concurred Brian's story, so it must be true. There was not a echo me, chat. Tell me, please respond. In fact, let's do a poll because I'd be shocked if this is an answer. Did the witness make it clear Gabby was the aggressor? I want to know what you guys think. I'm asking you guys as we talk because I want to see your feedback and make sure I'm not going crazy. Because I didn't get that vibe at all. I got a vibe of she was defending herself from being stranded on the side of the road. And then was leaded into saying, well, yeah, I guess she slapped him when she was trying to get in the car. And that was enough for him to say, okay, well, she's the aggressor. Meanwhile, we have a second witness who we haven't talked to. And what he chooses to do is go explain, yeah, she's the aggressor. We know it and we know it. And then tell Brian, well, look, dude, we're going to let you go, blah, blah. Why didn't he take a moment to say, all right, we have a witness. Actually, I need to talk to you. I just spoke to the witness. Can I talk to you? And then talk to the guy. And then go back to Brian and be like, look, Brian, I just spoke to a witness. I want to do my due diligence here. Obviously, we're all recorded. It's really important you tell the truth to me, okay? Really, really important. I just want to make sure that you're telling me the truth, especially since I just spoke to a witness. Can we rewind a bit and tell me what happened in that parking lot? Because I'm having some different accounts, and I want to verify, and it's really important you tell the truth right now, okay, man? That's all I'm telling you is keep telling me the truth. Just please don't hide anything. Now's your chance, man. Please, let's get this out. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What happened in that? Use that. Use that to pressure him a bit to actually figure out, is he telling the truth? And they didn't. He's immediately decided because the witness said this. It's done. It's done.
Let's get away from both of them.
Let's get away from both of them. So they go and compare the notes.
That he never saw the male strike the female. He saw the male trying to lock her out of the vehicle.
That's
She
true.
even told us that he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk. Said that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He says, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through.
So he's laughing. Yeah, she had to crawl into her car, which if you'd asked for registration, you know is her car. She had to like crawl into the car. None of this is problematic to these guys.
She's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she would have her shit so that he didn't have to engage with her.
Why? Why? And whose car is it?
Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail.
So you've watched this. We know what happens here.
For speeding, and I want to give you a warning. I can do that because it's
and then it's over. So then at this point, everything's sort of moot after this because it's over. At this point, he goes and plays the cards to Brian. Says, "Yeah, you're free, man. You've done nothing wrong." And this is the moment again where Brian laughs. Can I get that? You didn't do anything wrong. Can I get your video? Oh, what a scumbag!
It's a class B or under.
And so they're explaining everything. He's like, "Oh, I'm in the clear. Cool. I got away with this. Awesome." They didn't talk to the other witness because had they talked to the other witness did see it. And they didn't get that information because it came through the dispatch. But you have two witnesses who tell you that, and you're just like, I'm going to give them a pass. We must have the story clear. Let's not at all question that maybe this guy could be lying and that this woman's emotional. And they just don't know because they didn't know how to ask the questions.
Unless you have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated, do you have friends in town? Somewhere she can stay? Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can
go to jail?
You can't because we don't have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to get with her again tomorrow,
I'm gonna take the radio.
Two things. Hopefully you are going to jail, Brian. But two, I still never get over the fact that he said, "I'm going to take your video right there." Like, and he's like, "What?" That's such a red flag too.
if you want.
Yeah, right. Because she'd be crazy, right, dude? Yeah, you can have my video.
Want to be with her again tomorrow? Because it's after 5, so our office is closed. So you can go to the police department.
There we have it. And then there's another this part. I don't even really want to play this part, but it's so. You might want to mute this part, guys. I'm just warning you in advance. So the female officer has been talking to her.
It's cold water.
That's what we get visitors.
Hell yeah. Okay, Gabby. When you grow up.
When you grow up.
And you're a full-grown man. This is what you'll drink from. Plus, it's ice cold, and so I'm going to drink from it. Sorry.
It's stupid, but so anyway,
you'll probably never be a full-grown man.
And then you do curls.
Then you can do your
so sad.
Curls. So
he's playing. Haha. Let's have. Oh, when you grow up. Blah 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 blah. All depressing. Trying to ignore that because it's depressing. He's like, ha ha ha, and then he immediately just goes for the jugular. So we're going to charge you.
I'm going to speak to you frankly. I have a daughter almost your age, and I'm looking at you not so much like a suspect, but also as kind of a victim, in the sense that
kinda
you're dealing with some struggles emotionally and mentally at your age. Probably they'll work themselves out as you get older.
You're a victim because you're young and dumb, girl. You're just not mature enough. Your brain's not big enough. So you're a victim because you just don't know better.
There's a lot of angst at your age, and I remember being your age too. And hopefully it works itself out. But the stuff you did today that contributed to this, because you both contributed to this, is as a result of your inability to cope with the anxiety and the stress that you're having. So in a way, you're kind of a victim of this.
Because you're unable to cope with the anxiety. Why is she anxious, officers? Why do you think so? Because she's in an abusive relationship and you didn't catch the warning signs? You think? Could that be why? No, it's her, she's responsible for this. She needs to learn how to control herself.
I think you would have done better if you had the skills to do better. But you don't learn skills until you learn skills.
Oh,
You're not.
God. How is this helpful?
You don't have enough life experience yet to know how to
Shut
navigate
up,
everything.
Dude.
Like, I don't either, but I can navigate what happened. If I was in your shoes, I could handle it different because I'm 39 years old. I've been through it. But I've got a lot of life lessons to learn still because I'm like my dad and my grandpa. They know stuff I don't know. Right? They can do stuff I don't know. So in a way, I'm just letting you know that
Why is he giving her like some psychological advice? This is so weird.
Sympathize with you, but
So I sympathize. The moral of I sympathize you with because of all that offensive stuff I just told you about. You're too young and you aren't mature and you're emotional and it's your fault. But
based on what you've said and based on what our witnesses said.
Witness, not witnesses. Witness. Let's not forget you didn't get in touch with the other one. You didn't even call the dispatch to figure out what that was.
And even based on what your fiance has mentioned, trying his very hardest not to have you in any trouble.
Trying his hardest not to have you in trouble.
He does have marks on him.
So does she.
That witnesses say were caused by you slapping him.
Are you effing kidding me? This was from slap. No, this is from her saying he grabbed her. Did you not listen to her? Did you not listen to her? She just told you, officer. He grabbed her face, her chin, and that. And no, that's because from the slapping.
And that even you say you slapped him and were aggressing him first. And I don't have anyone saying that he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to prevent you from entering the van.
She's just processing right now, like, am I going to be able to get out of this car? And I'm sure we can all relate to that. Whether it's a speeding ticket, whatever it is, she's off guard because he's been nice, he's positive. She's sitting there waiting, and this guy just blah 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 blah. You're a victim. It's your fault. Da, 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 da. The witnesses says it's your fault. You're stuck. You're dumb. You're young and dumb.
To get space from you, not to assail you.
He was just trying to get space from you. Yeah, we didn't ask any questions as to why you were stranded on the road, why he was taking your laptop and phone. And by the way, is that his car? We didn't ask any of that. So it's your fault.
That makes sense. So
it doesn't make sense.
The tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him. Of course, we're going to look at it like, oh, of course, she's defending herself to get away from this guy. Well, we're kind of looking at it the same way with him. And we have to treat both fair, even if he's a bigger male and you're a smaller female. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Pratt and Officer Robbins, you can treat people different based on gender under the same, so we can't. Even if it makes no sense that because you probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could if he attacked you, we can't treat you different, okay? So all that long-windedness I'm giving you right now is leading up to the fact that if I pull someone over for speeding, I have the right to give them a warning. I have something called officer discretion. But in the legislature in Utah, they have made a law that if we have a domestic assault, they don't trust the police to make good decisions because too many cops have made bad decisions.
Like this one right here, mind you.
So they say, we're not going to give you discretion. We're going to write a law that says if you have a domestic assault, whether it's male on female or female on male, whoever the primary aggressor is has to be charged.
Okay, good law. I'm okay with that law. But why didn't you ask more questions to figure out who was the primary aggressor? Because you didn't. You didn't ask it. Like, she admitted to you that she was grabbed by the face. The witness made it very clear she was going like this to get into the car that he was leaving. How is leaving her stranded on the road not a sign of aggression? I mean, can I get support on that? Am I crazy? Or is leaving someone on the side of the road with their laptop, phone, and everything in it also a sign of aggression? It sure feels like that's a sign of aggression too, but this officer's like, oh yeah, I know what it's like to my ex-wife. I had to get out of that situation all the time, man. Oh, I wish I could have just left her on stranded on the side of the road and take all of her personal items. Like, how was that not a sign of aggression?
No choice. You don't get to give them a warning. It doesn't even matter if they barely hurt at all and the guy doesn't want to press charges or the girl doesn't want to press charges. We don't have a choice. We literally have no choice. He does not want to press charges. He says you guys are a team. He says you're his fiance. He says he loves you. He says he doesn't want anything to happen. But we're explaining to him that we don't have any choice in this. So we're trying to get a local victims advocacy group called Sea Haven to get him a hotel for the night so that you can have the van, because they won't give you the hotel because you're the one who is the primary aggressor. So they're going to consider him the victim. So they're going to get him a hotel. So he wants you so that you don't have to go to jail, because the only thing we can do is take you to jail. He says, well, so she doesn't have to go to jail, then I will accept Sea Haven's help if they'll give me a hotel, and then she can have the van so she doesn't have to go to jail. She can have it.
He's so nice. Brian Laundrie, so looking out for her. You can have the dirty van that we've been fighting over while I go get the hotel room. Because I'm a victim here.
When you get the ticket, it's going to give you a phone number to call, and they're going to give you a court date, and that court date will...
So here, this is the so heartbreaking moment as to when the reality sets in and she realizes that she's going to have to come back to Utah. She has an arrest warrant on her, etc.
Probably be online.
I have to come back to Utah?
No, it'll be online.
Oh.
You have a smartphone?
Yeah.
So you can... I go to court. You're okay.
Sorry, I've never heard of this. I didn't know
Yeah.
this was in
When
Utah.
COVID happened, they switched...
She doesn't care about the fucking dude. She's realizing I should have been more honest. I was trying to just say this so we could leave, but we're driving in Utah, and I didn't realize that my fib right now just put me arrested. Everything here this is so imperative, and he's so hung up. Oh, she doesn't want to go to the court. Dude, she wasn't being honest to you. You just made a judgment call because your ex-wife was a crazy person.
Saw the court from in person to online. So when I go to court now...
I have a ticket for hitting the curb or something, please, because we're okay. Like, where does it
I understand, but...
Now she's changing the story. We're okay. Can we just get the ticket for the curb, please? She's pleading with him.
We don't have any, like, listen, if I had any discretion in this, I would separate you guys for the day and just give you warnings to stop hitting each other. But I lawfully don't have discretion here.
Well, you could have just said they were both the aggressor and put them both away. Why not? You have plenty of evidence here to say they both... It's too hard to tell who started it. They're both being aggressive. He left her. She slapped him. He slapped her back. This is separate them both. Put them both in jail. Separate cells.
I don't have any...
Because somebody said something, like a witness said something?
There's two witnesses.
Is it because something the witness said? Interesting. She's trying to figure out what's that. Why? How did you come to that conclusion?
And then there's what...
Because she...
You said when he said, and guess what? It all matches nicely that you were the primary aggressor, and that the injuries he has were caused by your aggression towards him. Even if he doesn't feel hurt, even if he doesn't want to press charges, there's nothing any cop can do about it. It's written into the law.
I know that. I don't...
Normally we take people to jail, but he's trying to work it so you can just have the van. Tomorrow,
I don't want to be separated.
You can have anxiety?
Yeah, no, we're a team, please.
There's no... What is that?
No, like, we're a team, please. It's gonna give me so much anxiety. Can we just have, like, a driving ticket?
Okay, the very best thing I can do is call my supervisor and see if I'm missing something here.
Because I'll pay any driving ticket, a parking ticket, anything.
Okay, Gabby?
If that'd be
Gabby,
better.
try to calm down, and I'm going to go call a supervisor. But I don't think that there's much I can do, but let me see if the supervisor can tell me something I'm missing to make this not happen.
I can't feel over it, and I couldn't handle that. I'm sorry.
Okay, just give me a minute, okay? You don't have to sit out in the hot sun unless you want. Okay.
I'm sorry, I got emotional, and I also just lost the context.
Hey, so a tiny little girl, 22 years old, slapped her boyfriend, her fiance, several times. He's got a little bit of a little tiny abrasion on his chin, on his jaw. They got into a van and drove off. He got called in by there's one caller and then a witness. Got them stopped. The story from the witnesses matches the story from the female, matches the story to the male. She was pissed off. She's having a rough day. He tries to separate from her. She's not staying away from him. She has severe anxiety problems. He locks her out of the van, says, "You need to go for a walk and cool off." She's forcing her way into the van. She's clawing her way past him into the van to be with him. He's shoving her to get her out of the van, but he's not assaulting her or he's not assailing her. He's trying to keep her out. She's punching, slapping, everything. She's got to be 105 pounds soaking wet, 22, full of anxiety, having a really tough time. Not making excuses, but I mean, it is written into code. We do have a domestic assault here. He's not wanting to pursue it. He's very adamant. He does not want to pursue it. We're explaining we don't have any discretion on these things. We're giving him a no contact. We're letting Seek Haven see if they can get him a hotel so she can have the van so that we don't have to put her in jail. She's really struggling with the idea of being alone and not with him and not having the van. They want to be together. I told her, look, there's not anything I can do. This is all written into freaking statute. I just said the last thing I can do is call a supervisor and see if where this is such a minor. There's like a slap fight, and the injury is from a fingernail. I just don't know if it's worth the whole domestic thing or not, or if it's going to get us in trouble if we don't do it this way. Well, they don't want to, but I told them that unless I get some kind of permission some other way, I'm pretty sure this is just statute and that we have to separate you.
So, sorry guys, that part's really hard to watch. And so here he is, because he even was emotionally affected, is trying to find another option to fix this.
As far as the domestic assault charge, what do you think about that? Well, I mean, do the whole thing or not? But is there a way to not do anything on something like this? I mean, it's so minor. It's hard to say, right? I'm going to go reread the statute and just see if it fits or if there's a way it doesn't fit. And if I can find a way that... Because it really is... The spirit of the law is being lost on this one. It really is. So let me see what I can find, and if nothing else, then we'll have to separate him whether she likes it or not.
Whether she likes it or not.
All right, thanks. All right, bye. Thanks. Bye.
So, guys, sorry, I that part's hard, and I got emotional there, and then I was crying and had to lost the contact, and now I'm back. Just needed a second. Look, he's trying to do his damnedest to put this away, which I do want to try to give him some credit for. He didn't arrest her, thank God. At the same time, would that have been better? Who knows? Probably not. Might have made things worse. We'll never know what could have been. As he's going through the statutes to try and figure out, we'd seen this talk before.
See if there's any way to just...
They're trying to figure out just to let this go. And the reality, what's really sad about it, everything else you've pretty much seen here, because the other cop has been here through all of this. Even this part, the officer's there. There's nothing really new after this, and then he leaves and leaves it up to that officer right there. But it's this part right here that really just, to me, clinches it of just like how effed up this was. I'm inviting Brittany in the chat just so I can get a female perspective, because I'd love to have some, and I'm going to go through a lot of your chats have come in. Thank you for the support today. This is a tough stream, and it's a tough stream to just stop and take chats and things. So bear with me and thank you. But Brittany may come in as well to help, sort of offer some insight. I'd be grateful for that, Brittany. I just sent you the link. Look, at the end of the day, things could have been done better, I think, is the real reality here. And I want to end this poll because I want to see what you guys think. Did the witness account make it seem like she was the primary aggressor? To me, that's the big question. And 84% of you say no. 84% of you says that she's not. You want me to show the sorry, Riley's texting. Hold on. We've seen this before, Riley, haven't we? What's here at the phone?
Way, shape, or form that I can...
Thank you.
They
You're
don't
right.
want to have to be...
Sorry.
How far do you want to go with this? Like, you know why the domestic assault code is there. It's there to protect people, especially... The reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser. They just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him charged. They don't want him to go to jail. And then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed. Mm-hmm. In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into the situation where he's going to be a battered man?
Right.
But then again, I don't have a crystal ball. So I was looking at I talked to the assistant chief to see if there's any way to just go less than than the full force domestic assault route.
Right.
And he says, look, I mean, you either go all the way or you don't. And it's like, okay, but under what circumstances can I not? And really the only time I can not is if it doesn't fit. If it fits, then it's in the law, then you have to do it. So I went and I looked at the code for assault, because this is an assault.
So guys, that line he says is chilling.
They don't want
it's chilling because
physical condition.
It happened.
And
it's chilling because he just thought he was the one who was going to get hurt. He couldn't.
Okay. How far do you want to go with this? Like, you know why the domestic assault code is there?
I want you to hear this again.
To protect people, especially the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk
people who are at risk, Gabby,
want to go back to their abuser.
Brian.
They just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him charged. They don't want him to go to jail, and then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed.
Did you hear that? That's what happened because he ignored the signs. But he can't see it, because if we don't talk about these types of things and have these types of conversations, no one will see it.
You either go all the way or you don't, and it's like, okay, but
he didn't see the signs, and because he didn't see the signs, he did have a crystal ball there, and he called the future. But he's so hung up on how Brian is going to be harmed.
In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together.
Lies. It's not true. That's all in a mirage.
Can I perceive that this is going to digress into the situation where he's going to be a battered man?
No, the opposite happened because you ignored the signs, officer. And that's where I'm sure this guy has... I can't even imagine what this guy's feeling. I hope he's hearing it now and knows it, that he made these mistakes. And again, this is why education is important. He missed the ball. He wasn't paying attention. And that is a chilling moment at the end that... It's why the law is there. But because he didn't know who the victim was, because he didn't listen to his own advice, he couldn't acknowledge that, yeah, she was pleading to try and get back to her abuser because she just wanted to go away and not get him in trouble. Or, God forbid, say, yeah, I hit him first. I did it. It's me. Can we go away now? And then she's like, oh, I didn't know Utah did that. She literally says that at one point in this footage, because she's like, oh, crap. I was just saying that because I thought we'd be able to go away and then he wouldn't get trouble. That's what she's used to doing, guys. She's used to taking the blame and apologizing for him. And that's what happens in these relationships all the time. And so he dismissed everything. He was so caught up on his ex-wife, and this guy right there was caught up on his wife, she is. Both of them were so hung up on their crazy own personal relationships, they couldn't stop and listen and actually do what an officer should have done. The fact, I still can't get over it, because I mean, process the first time I watched it. The fact that he grabbed her by the chin and the face, as if like there's any reason why that would ever be okay. That's not a defensive move. Who does that as a defensive move while driving, especially? I don't get it. If I grab you by the chin, you are going to claw me and scratch me with your arms. It makes no sense. And this officer couldn't. Like, how come I, a YouTuber, can figure that out in 10 seconds and he couldn't? Because he wasn't listening. Because he wanted to hear what he wanted to hear and he wanted to get out there. Thank you, Riley, for reminding me to play that clip, because I thought we got the rest, and that part is so chilling and so sad and so tragic. It's imperative you guys understand where this is. Look, I want to get through all your comments. I'm going to get there. We have Brittany and Emmeline here. I want to get your thoughts. We're going to hang for another 20 or 30 minutes to go through the chats, get your feelings. But I want to trim this just so you guys have a commentary clip, and I hope you'll get this out there. So anybody who's arguing about, well, she did it. Oh, who cares? What's the big deal? No, this guy got away with it. This poor woman was just pleading, and he just couldn't hear her. And it's tragic. And again, I don't want to say I don't believe these officers should be fired. I believe these officers and so many of us need to be more educated on what the warning signs are to look for. And that's why I want to share this video and why we should all do this, because I'm still learning myself. And I'm so grateful to all you guys who've been commenting and sending me stuff. So I'm making sure I see it, because we all gotta look for this kind of stuff. It's tragic what happens here, and it happens every day. And if you're in a situation like this and you feel like you can't get out of your relationship, please call a crisis center. Call the authorities. You can look up a local crisis center in your town. I always support the one here at Crisis Center Tampa Bay. I think it's 411, or I'm going to find it out before I clip this. But here in Tampa Bay, we have one, and please, you're never alone. There's always someone who can help you talk. It's 211. Here in Tampa Bay, the Crisis Center Tampa Bay is 211, and most major cities have a crisis center. If you are in a situation and you're watching this, I know I have a lot of women who are now tuning in my channel and have been glued to this show. I plead to you, as a man, you're not supposed to be hit. We are not supposed to hit you ever, abuse you mentally, physically, any of it. If you are in a situation where you feel like you need help, call someone and talk to them. This is anonymous. They will give you advice. If you feel like you can't get out, they will try their damnedest. If they don't, try again. Call a different center. If that's not working, call a friend, call the authorities. There's always a way out, whether it's your children, whether it's you. This is a really serious issue, and too many people don't take it seriously. There is help out there. You can get it. You can seek it. Please, you're not alone. Call an advocate, a local center, somebody to help you. Anyone out there, crisis centers are in all of it. I'm pretty sure it's 211 on all your phones, should connect you to a local crisis center. So please take this seriously. Don't ignore a victim like this who's clearly just changing the story to protect her abuser. This isn't a case of, oh, women are lying. No, this was a woman who was begging and losing it because she's stuck in a relationship that her parents and her friends couldn't even get in touch with her because he took her on a van across the country to remove them from her life. And then leaves her on the side of the road, and then when she's gone, kills her, allegedly, right? Regardless of whether he killed her, left her there and didn't even tell her family. It's horrific. That's why this case is so important to so many people. That's why we're on this hunt for this monster. The fact that he left shows his guilt. There's no right or wrong. This is just, it's awful what we're going through. Please seek out help if you need it. And to all of you who've been watching, I'm so grateful for your support and your strength. We can keep this going. We have to look for this guy the best we can. But more importantly, I think this video is so important because it opens up hopefully some eyes to somebody out there. And if we can help one person escape that abusive relationship, then this was all for something. Because that's clearly what the Petitos want too. How do we find positivity? How do we find more people missing? How do we help people get out of these types of relationships? That's what this is about. So never forget that as you're out there watching this case and supporting it. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to clip this for YouTube just so people can see it. If you're watching live, we'll wrap up together with some calls, guests, and your chats. So grateful for all of you. Stay with me 1 second.